Boom. My man Duncan Trussell's been here for the podcast. I believe this is maybe the 5th or 6th time you've been on. I think you've been on more than anybody else except me and Brian.
It's my favorite thing.
You're the greatest guy ever.
Thanks, you are too.
There's nobody better than you for the podcast.
Please.
You're the most entertaining, interesting, and you're changing the world, dude, whether you like it or not. You're freaking people out.
One fleshlight at a time.
2 fisted fleshlights here. He's got 2. He's got one that he could pretend is a beer can. It's like kind of sneaky.
This is an asshole.
Is that an asshole?
That's better.
So I've got
tighter.
I theoretically have the front and the back.
Yeah, theoretically, that may be a mouth. We might have to check.
Let's see what we have here.
Oh, it says Fleshlight Girls, so I think it's modeled after some particular porn star.
Oh, really? Let's see. Oh my God, it's modeled after Margaret Thatcher. This is so exciting.
You have to pour it out.
That's the bottom.
This
Could
is
you imagine if Margaret Thatcher was into...
Oh, this is modeled after someone named Tegan. It comes with lube, and I guess it's modeled after her. She apparently plays guitar. She's pictured here with an electric guitar.
Yeah, what's that all about?
What is that?
Is that necessary?
How do they do this?
Is that a little cliche? Is there a muscle car behind her too?
This is like some kind
An
of
old
like,
Mustang perhaps?
Oh, you're
it's
breaking
like Christmas. You know what? Holding a fleshlight, I could say anything. I could like come up with like a cure for all disease.
Nobody take it seriously.
No, I take it seriously because I'm holding an anus flashlight.
That would, you're in the perfect position as a comic where if you were sending girls pictures of your dick, it wouldn't hurt your career at all. At all. You would go on stage and say, look, guys, here's the deal, okay? Yes, what I did was stupid, but I get lonely and I'm in front of my computer and I do dumb shit. I'm not a bad person. I'm not hurting anybody.
Yeah.
Never even fucked anybody. He never even fucked anybody.
Who, Wiener?
That Wiener guy.
Oh, please. Yeah, he did.
No, he didn't.
Sure he did.
They didn't catch him fucking
Well,
anybody.
he didn't catch him, but he definitely did.
Think so?
Of course.
Well, in this little thing, what got him fired, none of it had to do with him fucking somebody.
He definitely.
Someone's skeptical.
I'm skeptical that he just sent pictures of his erect cock and underwear and nothing else.
That's his
happened.
thing. Everybody's got their thing. Have you ever dated a girl that doesn't even want to have sex, just wants to blow you?
No. Thank
Brian,
God.
you have, right?
No,
You've never dated a girl who only wants to give blowjobs?
no, I would hate that girl. I would have
I
run
know
away.
a few friends that have had that girl. Yeah, I know. I have one friend who's like, she doesn't even like sex. She just likes to blow me and then she takes care of me and leaves me alone.
Awful.
Does she have a penis, maybe?
No. That's a good question. No, they've had sex before. She just doesn't like it. Maybe it's because her pussy's so eaten up with warts, it's like all scratchy and shit. So cut that out. Listen, the point is, we love you and we don't want anything bad to happen to you.
Yes. Be well.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Everybody's little house on the prairie, right? Brian Callen was on the podcast today, ladies and gentlemen. Almost always the greatest podcast of all time on the Brian Callen, Duncan Trussell, Joe Diaz podcast. That's the deadly. That's the what is it?
Thank you, sir.
Trifecta.
The trifecta. We call it the trifecta.
The axis of evil. That's the best.
I think everybody should do kettlebells because just doing a little bit of that, I feel really good.
I feel like a fucking man, right?
I feel like I just had coffee or something.
Yeah.
I'm getting thick. My neck is.
Yeah.
I'm intimidating.
You are.
Intimidating guy. Look at my neck.
Scary. Frightening to be this close in proximity to a killer.
That's all I do to the guys I know who are pro fighters. I can't help it. I always think I'm just an idiot. Like, let me ask you something. If I'm here and I'm like this, and then I go, yeah, like that, what do? I'll answer the question. Nothing. You fucking crumple. If you want to learn how to fly or fight with a bow staff.
Your key.
But other than that, it doesn't really work. And if it did, people would be training in Kung Fu when they stepped into the octagon. A lot of guys go, well, but in real life, if I'm here and they're like,
The funniest thing is when people say, well, hey, bro, what you do is a sport. This is a sport situation. The best stuff works on trained killers. And the trained killers are guys like Mayhem. Try doing some dim maka Mayhem.
There is one guy I know who I think his name is Mark Makita, and he's a knife fighter. Like he teaches knife fighting like on a high level. Jesus. And he was talking about, he goes, is it important to learn jiu-jitsu? Absolutely. Do you need to understand ground fighting? Do you need to understand kicking and punching? Yes, and he knows it all. He goes, but he pulled out a little, he was like this, and it was a little hooked thing like that, and he goes, see, now this, I can actually scribe your spine from the front. And he goes, see this, you're about 8 inches, you're in shape. He goes, see this, I get in here and I basically am bumping against your spine as I pull here. Then he does this to me. He goes, see now, we're in a fight here and you throw a punch or whatever, I catch you here, we're tied up like that. See, and I go, oh, you stab me? He goes, stab you? No, I take my knife and I cut all this off, see? And I go, oh! And then he goes, but I keep cutting. And he keeps doing this with his rubber knife, and I was like, that's what I was doing. See that face? I was going, I don't like this game. This is terrible. He goes, yeah, that's real fighting.
Yeah.
This is what he told me. He said he's got this little hook thing, and he goes like this. He goes, see, if I'm standing here like that, you don't see, it looks like I'm just holding the thing. It looks like a key holder. But if I come under here and pull this, then your whole life changes.
Someone's screaming. Yeah, that's weird. Stop filming. Turns out those kids screaming was just kids playing, which is always good. It's always good to be wrong. Brian Callen was awesome on the podcast, and since we didn't really end his interview, we'll do it this way. Powerful Tom Segura, ladies and gentlemen. He's here. God damn it. He's here. Next week, I start back on Fear Factor again.
Holy shit.
That's ridiculous. I can't even believe I agreed to do that. I'm like a goddamn raccoon. They hung something shining in front of my face, and I said, yes, shiny. Sam!
It's gonna be eaten live
I'm here to
animals.
get that paper! I'm Joe Rogan, and this is Fear Factor. The stunts you're about to see were all designed and supervised by trained professionals. They are extremely dangerous and should not be attempted by anyone, anywhere, anytime. I remember that.
And under any circumstances?
Don't add shit to my I know what the fuck I'm doing. I said it anywhere, anyone, anywhere, anytime. That is any circumstances. You redundant hoe.
You critique is like reciting it from memory. You're like, what about this shit? Then, man?
Redundant hoe. And then I have to say, evidently, fear is not a factor for you. Everything else
There it is.
free ball.
You're going to get that back. Now people are going to come and say that to you again.
Yeah, it's too
Now.
late. I've ruined my life. Again, I've gone back to my post-Fear Factor days where everyone would get, my boy wants to eat some worms. That's like your...
Yeah.
How many times you heard people say that? To the point
Yo,
where
Joe, fear's not a factor for me, Joe!
that's going to be an issue as well.
Really?
It's going to make comedy a little more interesting.
No, this
Yeah,
is actually, it's
totally.
going to be old heckles that are new again, right? Because this thing
Yeah.
you used to hear yelled
Listen,
out.
man, I already got that shit down.
Yeah.
I'm already ready. I'm already ready. I hope not, but it probably will. But I think we'll survive. The good thing about the podcast is the podcast fans buy out the tickets before the retards have a shot at it.
Right.
So that's what it's going to keep them
Good
out of
for
clubs. Step, son, step. We'll see you guys soon. And soon, there's a lot of shit going on.
A lot of shit, man.
A lot of shit happening. Tommy Segura is going to go to Montreal, and we'll get a full description of what happened there when he comes back on his podcast, which is Your Mom's House.
Your mom's house on Death Squad. .tv.
You can find that shit on iTunes. This might be the most boring fucking post-podcast interview we've ever done. There's no fucking continuity to any of the things we're saying. There's no energy behind it. It's we don't have a lot to offer today. But look, there's cycles, good and bad. There's pro and con. There's ebbs and flows. The wave, it comes in, it goes out. Good night. Oh, this is the wrap-up of the podcast. We had a very fascinating podcast with Giorgio from Ancient Aliens, and of course,
good
my
time.
man, Ejibra, who is, did this satisfy your ancient
Absolutely.
knowledge
I just-
alien thing? This
Like when I'm
kid-
hanging out with Alex Jones, I just want him to talk.
this
I'm like,
kid
I
is
don't really have anything to say.
fascinated. When I told him that you were coming on the podcast, man, he's like, dude, I gotta do this podcast with you. I gotta do this podcast with you. I gotta see this guy. I got questions for this guy about Nazis and aliens. A lot of questions.
No, it was a good time.
Is this the first podcast you've ever done?
Oh, you know what? Let's just do this.
Like this, yes.
Yeah.
But I've done a lot of over
Let's
the
go.
phone.
Nice.
All right.
Tweet that. I'll retweet it. You've done a lot over the phone.
Yeah.
This is
absolutely.
it's definitely more
Here, you
interesting.
take a picture
doing
of
it
us?
intimately, right?
Here.
So this is the first time I've ever done a podcast like this where you get to go deep, deep, deep into the crazy bin. Because I told you broke my crazy meter with the Ark of the Covenant thing.
I love it.
It's never happened before.
I think
couldn't
that's
even talk
great.
after that. I was like, what the fuck is he saying? He's saying it was a fucking vending machine?
Yes, an extraterrestrial one nonetheless.
That's pretty crazy stuff, man. What is it like living your world is overwhelmed by all this speculation and crazy stuff and things that most people will never take seriously. But yet you've spent an incredible amount of time invested in all these things. What is that like, man?
Well, I mean, look, it's bizarre. I mean, I rarely go to conferences because there's so much weird stuff going on. It's even weird for me, man.
Yeah.
You know, and so
I would
and that's the thing that, you know, I'm just some dude. I'm just a regular, you know, guy. And the moment I hear about, you know, crazy stuff, to me it's like, you know, slow down a second here, because this is how you're going to lose the mainstream. Because just to talk about the potential or the possibility that ETs were here, dude, that's fucking enough. That's enough.
That's enough.
You know, and so, you know...
You don't need vending machines through space.
What about these?
To make you blind.
What about these stones? Mexicans can't build these
Mexicans
stones.
can't build those stones.
Mexicans can't do
Nobody
that.
they're not
can do
perfect.
this.
You know
It's
what I mean?
impossible.
Because you can't even put a dollar bill in between the fittings
That's a
in
wrap.
You can't put a peso
That's a
between
wrap for
that.
this episode. That's a wrap. Goodbye. Freddie Lockhart and I was just talking about keeping the pimp hand strong. He was just telling me how he keeps the pimp hand strong, and I gotta admit, it's some high level shit. He knows what the fuck he's doing. He knows what he's doing. It's like this is a man who's grown up with it. Did your dad have a strong pimp hand?
Extremely. It's still strong. It
Yeah.
works on me still.
Yeah. See, you could tell, man. You understand the psychology behind the pimp hand.
The pimp hand is strong, and you
It's
need
legit.
it. You know, if you don't use the pimp hand, then things get out of control, and you get taken advantage of.
Yes.
And you end up bedazzling your iPhone.
You got to realize that there's nature in this life, and women want men, and men want women, and occasionally a woman wants to be a man, and a man wants to be a woman, and that's a catastrophe.
Right.
And when a woman wants to be a man, and you're a man, you usually submit because she has the pussy, and then you're not a man anymore. She's the man. When someone's telling you what to do, that person's the man.
When
Even
you
if it's
lease
a
out
woman,
your manhood.
you lease out your manhood
Don't
for
lease
just
out your
a
manhood.
little pussy and some companionship.
Don't lease out anything. Not your happiness, not your
No.
manhood. Don't rely on anybody for anything ever.
That's our public service message of the day. Now that I'm back on NBC, the more you know. Keep the pimp hand strong. Gee, the more you know. Like rainbows and shit.
My pimp hand.
Freddie Lockhart.
Strong.
Freddie Lockhart has a brand new podcast, folks. For those of you watching this video blog who don't actually listen to the podcast because you ain't got that kind of time, I understand that you're out there. Freddie Lockhart has a fantastic podcast, though. If you're ever going to go on a trip, you know what I'm saying? You want to go somewhere, you need to listen to something, you're 11 hours on a plane, Freddie Lockhart's podcast is perfect for such situations.
Yeah.
It's called What's Good, and it's on the Death Squad label. You can get it on iTunes for free. It's free. Death Squad. And if you don't like it, you don't have to listen. Then tune in next week. You don't like that one, delete that too. Who gives a
Yeah.
fuck? I hope you like it, though. I think you like it.
I hope so. There's those who do and those who haven't heard it. You know
And
what
you
I mean?
don't even do guests yet. Right now,
No.
you're just like interacting with people
Yeah.
on Twitter and shit.
Sure, we're
and-
finding the voice, and then I think I might start playing my own guests, maybe.
Dude, go back to when we were doing our first podcast. Brian and I started over a year ago, a year and a half ago, and it was terrible. We were awful. The first couple of podcasts are unwatchable. There's
Oh, yeah.
snowflakes, and we're like reading off Twitter. What is he saying? What the fuck is wrong with this guy? We're like, it was like so dumb and boring.
Yeah, he let me know the second one. He's like, stop being on Twitter so much, because if you're listening to this on, your iPod a couple days later, this is not exciting.
Okay.
So I was like, yeah, all right, I'll leave Twitter alone.
Yeah, you got to leave Twitter.
But now, I think the third time we just did it more relaxed. The second time I was almost like, it's a radio show, I gotta be professional. But then the third time I was like, yeah, let's just shoot the shit and see where it goes.
We had one mistake that we did where we let people in the chat room. we let a chat room run, and then we like read the chat room. There's also like nigger cunt. It was just craziness. Fuck you, fuck you. We'd have to ban this guy, and this guy would be spamming. Show me your cock. These people are so crazy. They just want you to acknowledge them.
They want their name to be said.
Yeah, so we had to figure it out. We had to figure out that you can't talk to them, and you just gotta kind of do your own thing, and you gotta listen to feedback. You learn from some feedback, but you gotta, you also gotta like insulate some people from having an impact on the show.
No, there's some people just so desperate to be part of it. I see all
They're
of it.
goddamn crazy. It's so fascinating. There's so many nutty fucking people out there, and when you have a podcast, you can bring those nutty people together
Yeah.
under the Death Squad label.
I ran into a guy in San Diego who was listening. He was telling me everything about it, shit I forgot about, like on the first one we did.
Oh man, people love it, man. It helps them get through their day. You know, if you have a
Yeah.
boring ass job,
Yeah,
you get to
mechanics
listen
are
to
listening,
people
you know.
talk some shit during the day while you're doing things. Yeah, it's fun.
So much better. It's making radio passe now, isn't it?
A buddy of mine emailed me, said he went to a bar. I think somewhere in the Northeast. Went to a bar, and inside the bar they were playing the podcast.
Oh, wow.
On the speakers.
Well, I was at the Ice House 2 weeks ago. The bartender, I went to go pay. He goes, I listened to you on Joe Rogan's podcast. I ain't charging you nothing, Freddie Lockhart. I was like,
That's
Death
hilarious.
Squad.
That's strong, ladies and
You know
gentlemen.
what I mean?
Boom. Hey, We're back with my friend, formerly known as Chris, now Aubrey.
What's going
He
on?
got so fucked up on ayahuasca, he changed his name. And you can see the whole story or listen to it or whatever you want to do. Podcast 127?
So I think,
127.
yeah.
Whatever.
Read about it on warriorpoet.us.
There you go. Read about it and you can watch his videos on it. And it's not for kids. This is some real shit, folks. But we just got done doing the podcast. And I think what I told him was that I think it was the best depiction of the ayahuasca experience that I had ever heard. The most detailed, the most compelling, the best story. It really, you went in depth and you did it without any worry about how ridiculous it sounded. You didn't apologize for any of it. You just jumped in there.
It's easy when you're just telling what happened. You know what I'm saying? It's like I didn't have to.
It is, but it's not.
Yeah. Well, maybe not how you do it, but it's so. I mean, I didn't have to make anything up. You know,
Yeah.
it's just that's what happened to me out there.
It
So,
sounds like complete utter horseshit. But
yeah, for sure.
it's just because it's too crazy for our reality. It's too crazy for our reality. But that was the beauty of the way you told it, is that even though it sounds like complete utter horseshit, like on paper, you're reading and you go, what? But the way you said it was so sincere and so honest and open about it. Like, just like, this is what happened, this is what I saw, this is what I felt, this is what I experienced. No apologies. It was very fascinating, man. I guarantee
thanks,
you, a
Jeff.
lot of people listen to that and they're going to go and try that shit.
They should.
They're going to
They should.
fly to Peru.
It can only benefit your life. I mean, if you go, maybe I'll write a blog or something. There's some basic things you learn. Don't fight it. Don't try to fucking, let things happen. Let the medicine work and follow some basic guidelines, and it'll change your life for the better.
And the guy you went with, that they call the Dragon,
The dragon.
the Maestro.
Maestro
the
Orlando's
ayahuasca.
Chuhandama.
Yeah, we need to get that dude on Twitter.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Why don't you call him up? Does he give you his
I'm
number?
learning, yeah.
Text
I'm
him.
in touch with him by email, but
Really?
I gotta learn Spanish because it's a bit of an obstacle right
Dude,
now.
Rosetta Stone, get
I
on
got
that
it.
shit, son.
I'm on it.
All right, we got to go to a movie premiere. We're going to go see Kevin Smith's Red State. Hopefully it's good.
Oh, yeah.
I'm excited.
I love Kevin.
We're going to blaze up and see what the fuck is up. But thank you for tuning into the podcast and the podcast video blog, and we'll see you soon. Okay, bye-bye.
And they're celebrities because I don't know if you know this, America, but they are actually the guys who brought planking to America.
Are you fucking serious?
Yes, so please welcome the very talented Walsh brothers.